Good afternoon, racing fans. Welcome in for closing day of the 2018 Grand Circuit season at the historic Red Mile. Picture perfect weather conditions here in central Kentucky for Kentucky Futurity Day at the Red Mile. We've got 13 races on tap here this afternoon. Temperature's right at 80 degrees. It's warm here today, clear skies, and of course a lightning fast racetrack for this afternoon's card. If you do have out your programs, we'll go through this afternoon's changes and programming notes. Please note this afternoon we will have mandatory payouts in all pools. Again, mandatory payouts in all pools. Please also note the 50-cent pick 5 has moved to the first race. Again, the 50-cent pick 5 kicks off at the opener due to the comeback at the Philly Futurity going as race number 6. Your first change in the program comes in this afternoon's second race. In race number 2, please add Lasix to number 2 Highland Dynamite. Once again, number 2 Highland Dynamite will race on Lasix in this afternoon's second race. Races 3 through 6 are clear. Once again, races 3, 4, 5, and 6 are clear. Sixth race, of course, being the comeback for the Kentucky Philly Futurity. This afternoon's seventh race kicks off your $10,000 guaranteed pick 4. We scratch number 10, JK Captain Jack. Once again to the seventh race, scratch number 10, JK Captain Jack. Of course, that kicks off your $10,000 guaranteed pick 4. At this time, no changes on the balance of this afternoon's card. Races 8 through 12 are clear. Of course, the 13th race is the Kentucky Futurity comeback here this afternoon. The finale on your program, which will offer super high-five wagering. So once again, good afternoon. Welcome in here. It's closing day of the 2018 Grand Circuit season at the Red Mile. I am Gabe Prewitt. I am pleased to be joined by yet another special guest here this afternoon. We've got Mike Carter from the United States Trotting Association, also the Mike and Mike Show. And Mike, welcome in here to closing day.
I appreciate it. This is my first Grand Circuit at the Red Mile, and it's been a lot of fun so far.
Well, you've gotten to see a lot of action. How about yesterday's card? All sub 50 miles, bar a 1. So what a day we had. We saw the fastest trot ever, Homicide Hunter. It was really a great day of racing.
Yeah, it was really incredible to see Homicide Hunter, but how about the Philly Trotter in the first race, 149-3? What an impressive effort that we saw yesterday.
And yeah, you were up at the booth with me for that race, and typically during Grand Circuit time at the Red Mile, you really have to pay close attention to your world records and all of that good stuff. Of course, a late closing event where the Philly just won in 54 flat last week. I did not really expect that type of a big effort, but what a mile, and that really set the tone, Mike, for an incredible day of racing here at the Red Mile. We expect the same here on closing day because we've had warm temps, and this fast track should continue here as we move forward on a closing day. Quick look at the standings, Mike, before we dive into this afternoon's action, because we've got tight races for our Grand Circuit leading driver and also our leading trainer. At the driver standings, Yannick Gingras has 12 wins into this afternoon. Dave Miller and Andy McCarthy both with 10s. They're just 2 behind there. Tim Tetrick, Scott Zeron with 7. And on the training side of the things, Mike, we've got a really tight race. We've got a tie, in fact, right now. Trader Ron Burke is tied with Trader Nancy Johansson. They both have 7 wins apiece heading into today. Jimmy Tactor, Tony Alanya right there. They have 6 wins. Brian Brown looming there with 5. So we really have a tight race here into our final day standings to close out the Red Mile meet. Mike, it's a bittersweet day always here in Lexington. I'm not just talking about that overtime loss last night. Kentucky got delivered by Texas A&M, but closing day always bittersweet. Now, you've got a lot going on, though. Talk to us about what you're doing with the USTA and also the Mike and Mike Show.
I'm one of the 2 social media and publicity coordinators at the USTA. I run the USTA's Twitter and Facebook pages, covering the news and things of that sort. I also shoot video, as you've seen over the past couple of days while we're at these live events. And yeah, I'm a co-host of Post Time with Mike and Mike, presented by Bet America. You know, it's a show that's really taken off. Me and my partner, Mike Bozich, we never in a million years would have expected that it's taken off to what it's grown as today.
Yeah, and you guys do an excellent job covering the sport. We all enjoy that Mike and Mike podcast. Where you can find that? You can listen to it live or archive at your website.
Yeah, you can listen to it live or archive on our website at posttimewithmikeandmike.com. Everything's right there on our website.
You also do some announcing as well. I know you were the obviously the announcer at Buffalo Raceway for a couple of years. You were the backup announcer at Northfield Park, and you were the backup announcer here this afternoon to begin the ceremonies. But you're going to be filling in at a thoroughbred track, I know, coming up soon. Tell us about that.
Yeah, Pete Aiello called me and asked me if I wanted to come down for a couple of days to Gulfstream Park West And listen, I'm not going to turn down that opportunity. Obviously, check in with everybody at the USTA first. And, I've only caught a handful of thoroughbreds, but I'm looking forward to having some fun in Florida.
South Florida is nice this time of year, let me tell you. So you're going to enjoy that at Gulfstream Park West, the former Calder race course, of course. And we'll look forward to hearing you on the mic there. It's all about the hats here on Kentucky Futurity Day. We've got hats we're giving away in between races. You can go to the gift shop. Jeremy's handling that giveaway down at the gift shop, so stop in, see Jeremy. He's giving away hats, I believe 20, 25 hats in between each race. We've got a hat contest here, so you're going to want to stop in the trophy stand if you've created a Kentucky Futurity themed hat. And the winner of that hat contest, Mike, going to get dinner for 8 and a bottle of wine at Texas Day Brazil. That is a good spot. The runner-up is going to get dinner for 2. So that's really a great contest. I'm not sure we're going to win, though, because I think all we have to enter is just our Kentucky Futurity hat. So we weren't too creative here this afternoon. Without further ado, Mike, let's dive into the racing action, because we've got it fast and furious here this afternoon, as we're still 24 minutes from the opener. We start things off with this all-Raj Trotting Mares Open. We've got a good group here going to the post. And who'd you like at the opener?
This was a tough race for me. It's completely wide open with Caprice Hill, Royal Witch drawing towards the inside. But I went to the 4 Broadway Donna. Gabe, I was really impressed with Broadway Donna's performance at Delaware in the Miss Versatility. And trainer Jim Campbell, over the past couple of weeks, has done no wrong. So I went with the 4 Broadway Donna.
And she's a filly that loves this track, Mike. She was the 2016 Kentucky Filly Futurity Champion. How about this matchup? We've got the 2017 Kentucky Filly Futurity Champion here as well. Ice Attractions, so the 4 and 5. Both Filly Futurity winners the past couple of seasons. You're right, Jim Campbell's been red hot. But how about the barn of Renee Allard? That's another guy that's been breathing fire with his starters here during the Grand Circuit. He started 4 horses, Mike. He's got 3 wins and a second, so they haven't been worse than second. Charm Life comes off some of those smaller tracks, racing against a male company of late. So I think landing in here against the mare, stretching out at the big track. She's a horse that seems to be a bit of a dedicated closer. I think that's going to aid her chances here today in the opener. So I'm outside to Charm Life. I know you tried her to be close in here as well. And again, the 50-cent pick 5 kicks off in the first race this afternoon. Take note of that with that Kentucky Filly Futurity comeback. So we want you to remember that 50-cent pick 5 in the opener. How about speaking of that Filly Futurity, how about the first division of the first heat? Race 2, Mike. This seems to be a wide open group. Some of the killers drew in the other division. Very talented fillies here. Who do you like here in the second race? You could really go a lot of different directions.
A lot of people could say that this might be the easier of the 2 divisions, but I consider it one of the harder of the divisions, considering Atlanta, Plunge Blue Chip, and Manchego are all in the the third race. I went with the 1 Pat Matters off the rail. This filly was absolutely flying coming home in the Bluegrass last week against Hey Blondie and Bella Gloss. And Bella Gloss we saw race yesterday, obviously making that break at the start. I like the 1 Pat Matters here.
Yeah, Pat Matters has a big shot. She should be sitting close here at the early stages this afternoon. She's got a wicked late kick, Mike. I was all over in that Kentucky Sire Stakes final. She came up just short there. Good effort. She was 9-2, and she was beaten a half length at a good second place effort. She was beaten, by the way, with the 5 in here, Nixie Voldo. The filly that's impressed me, it is a bit of a test for class this afternoon. She's beaten up on maybe some weaker spots of late, but it's the 4 Supergirl Riley, and she was very convincing here. Last week, she easily defeated Live, Laugh, Love, who's a filly that's really raced at the very top levels all season long. So I think Supergirl Riley riding a 3-race win streak. I think she's very interesting here the second race this afternoon, and I decided to give her the slight edge there. She's 9-2 on the morning line. As we move forward to the third race this afternoon, that's the second division of the first heat of the Kentucky Filly Futurity. Reminder, the top 5 return for the final in this afternoon's 6th race. And you've got 3 really that stand out on paper here, Mike, the 3, 6, and 8. And how'd you see that shaking out?
This was a tough race for me. I've been kind of disappointed with Atlanta over the past couple of weeks. Ever since the Hambletonian final, she just hasn't been the same horse with second, third. That fight that we saw in the Hambletonian final just hasn't been there. I used her for second, but I went with the 8 Manchego on top. Raced in the Moneymaker at Hoosier Park back on Hoosier Pacing Derby night. And when she got to the top, boy, did she take off. She won easily by 3 lengths. I think Manchego is the horse to beat.
I agree. I'm on board there as well. She is the likely favorite, but I'm in agreement with your assessment of Atlanta. Atlanta as well. It's a filly that's supremely talented. Is she at her best? That is definitely the question. Heading into this afternoon, by the way, our man Nick Salvi broke some news there. If Courtney Hanover makes the final from the first division and Atlanta makes the final for the second, his father Rick is going to be in the bike on Courtney Hanover. Scott said no chance. He's letting Rick drive Atlanta in the final if both fillies do earn their way in to this afternoon's sixth race. We move on to the fourth race here, late closing event. And we've got a competitive group here going to the post. I decided to swing for a bit of an upset here. This horse is 4-1 in the morning line. I suspect, Mike, he might even play a bit better than that this afternoon. It's K. Ryan Blue Chip. He just missed the favorite, the 9 Lawrencetown Beach. Last time he finished third. He was right there at the line with Lawrencetown Beach. I think Lawrencetown Beach is likely going to be a big favorite this afternoon. So I decided to go with the horse I thought would be a bit better price for trainer Virgil Morgan Jr. He earned over $140,000 last year at the age of 5. He hasn't been quite as sharp this season, but he still put in a nice campaign. I know you like the Down Under Invader. And how about this? He's a son of Better's Delight out of a Christian Cullen mare. And if that sounds familiar, it's the same cross as Lazarus.
You know, the 4 statement made, added Lasix for the first time last week, came right here to Lexington. Granted, was racing against the conditioned company, but if the late closers do today what they did yesterday, that 150 and 2 mile was super impressive. The down under horses, Gabe, when they come over, have absolutely been phenomenal so far. Look at horses like Lazarus, Heaven Rocks. So I'm going to go with statement made here.
Okay, and he does have a big chance and obviously a license to improve, Mike. It is second start stateside with us. Visually, you know, he came second over. He did win last week. It looks solid on paper. Visually, I wasn't quite as impressed as I wanted to be with the statement made, but that's not necessarily a bad thing out there, as many people probably know at this point. Fifth race, we've got another late closing event, Possess the Will, coming up here. How sharp was the veteran last week as he uncorked a 26-3 final quarter to a 51 and change victory?
This is another late closer. I think we're going to have to watch the record books. That's actually my top selection. Number 1, the veteran. I think Scott Zeron's got a couple of chances for victory here this afternoon in the 5th race. I think he's got a big chance. Like you said, it was a monster effort. Got away third, came first up, took over the lead, and never looked back. The veteran looks like the score for me off the rail.
I agree. Just stomped that field last week. We've got a couple of large trainees that were both interested in underneath. I thought Simon gave maybe the edge to lean me towards a 5 seismic wave, as he obviously had his choice of who to drive here.
Yeah, you know, we talked to on Mike and Mike a couple of the drivers about what goes into making a driver's choice. You know, is it trainer, is it performance? And it's really kind of interesting, Gabe, to see what goes into making those decisions. So we'll see if he made the right one in this race here.
We will. Those are 2 talented trotters, so he really couldn't go wrong, it doesn't seem, with either of his choices there in the 5th race today. 6th race is at Kentucky Filly Futurity Comeback, so check your monitors. We'll have some picks for that as that gets a little bit closer, but we're not going to put ourselves. It's tough enough to pick the first heat, by the way, Mike, much less the second heat before we see the first heat, so we'll skip that. On to the 7th race this afternoon. Kicks off this $10,000 guaranteed pick 4. Yesterday afternoon's pick 4, Mike, better than $24,000. And by the way, nice ticket if you had it, $6,600 for $1. Someone caught it right here in the grandstand yesterday, cashed a nice ticket up top. There were 3 tickets out in total, so well done if you had that score. We do scratch number 10, JK Captain Jack here. Competitive group, though, really a race where you might be able to go prize shopping here in the 7th, Mike.
You know, I'm going to go to the 2nd tier. I'm not as afraid of the 2nd tier horses as some of the other people that I know, but 8-1 on the morning line for Mountain High. Mountain High got the perfect trip last week. I'm not really sure what happened between the half and the 3/4 pole. Was third, kind of got locked down at the inside, but was really coming late for driver Corey Callahan. Obviously, there's not a whole lot of inside speed, but the question here is going to be, does Kakeli leave with the 2 Thunderdome? And if that happens, Mountain High might get into a good early spot.
You know, he may, and I think the one military secret's going to leave there for Yannick Gingras, that inside post today. Didn't leave from post 8 last time. There was a tremendous amount of early speed inside him, but this is a horse that we've seen that can leave the gate. I'd say Yannick's going to be aggressive with that inside edge, which that should be to the liking of your top choice, Mountain High there as well. And he did have some traffic trouble, really didn't shake loose until late there last time. The 4 Reign of Thrones is a lightly raced colt. That's my top choice. Just his 3rd career start here this afternoon, Mike. I was impressed last time out. He left the gate, and he still had a lot of late pace at the end of it. He came home in 26-1 to just miss there in behind a pretty good pair. So a mid-pack post today. Some of our top connections, as we mentioned there at the top of the show. Andy McCarthy and Tony Alagna, both in the races for leading driver and leading trader, respectively. respectively here on the Grand Circuit season. Move on to the 8th race here this afternoon. This is the 3-year-old Tattersall's Pace, sponsored by the Crawford Farms. And we've got a good division here. First of 2 divisions this afternoon. Field of 8, the 3 quarterly choice, a Little Brown Jug champ, the Meadowlands Pace champ. He just hasn't done a thing wrong of late. He's going to be a short price hold this afternoon. I know you're going to try and take a swing to beat him with Stay Hungry.
You know, something we didn't mention with the 7th race, kicking off the pick 4 that starts the USTA play of the day, actually through the Harness Racing Fan Zone.
Another thing you've done an excellent job with, by the way.
I don't know about that. I've only hit a few, but you know, we're having some fun with it. But the second leg of the pick 4 is the 8th race. I'm going to go with the 5, Stay Hungry. Won the jug elimination before being set back to 4th. Came right back here at Lexington in the Bluegrass and just got up. Gabe was really coming late, come home in 26-3. The 3 Courtly Choice is an interesting play here, and you've got to give it to the connections of Courtly Choice. They've really put their money where their mouth is. They've supplemented him to everything. I think he's got a big chance as well.
They have been dead game. He's a supplement, by the way, to this afternoon's Tattersalls as well. And we were just talking about driver choices, and we had one here, Yannick Gingras listed on the 4 and 6. He opted the 4 Think Big, Dream Big. In my opinion, that's more of a trainer decision, as he is typically top off trainer Jimmy Tactor. We get McCarthy at the bike here for American History, and that's a colt that I'm going to try to be close here. American History really did a lot of the heavy lifting last week at a first over try. He stayed on very well. I like that effort, and we'll see if he can bounce back to be close here in the Tattersalls First Division this afternoon. First division, first heat of the Kentucky Futurity, the 126th renewal, Mike, in the 9th race. I know you have been all over the 2 Crystal Fashion all season. You preached him to me before the Hamiltonian. I did not believe you. He won the first heat that afternoon. Of course, he just missed at the final. You've been a big fan of this guy for a long time.
Yeah, my price got killed on Hamiltonian Day. I wasn't too happy about that with the 2 favorites, Six Pack and Wolfgang, checking out. I'm going to go with the 2 Crystal Fashion again here. Leading up to this race, you know, was 4th in the Hamiltonian final, has been winning ever since. Went up to Woodbine Mohawk Park in the Canadian Trotting Classic and put on a show. I think Crystal Fashion's the one to play.
Okay, Rice Gold there together with Tactical Land against second. If that comes in, the over-under is about $4 in that exact. So we'll see what that pays in this afternoon's 9th race. 10th race is the second division of the first seed, the Kentucky Futurity, and the 1 6-pack, who's won 7 of 10 this season. He's my top choice. Of course, we all remember that traffic trouble that he encountered in the Hamiltonian inside post at a short field today. We won't have to worry about that, at least that's my opinion. I know you're going here with the other favorite, Mike, that's 3 Metz Hall, who's also got a very nice resume into this afternoon.
You know, I wish I would have been on Metz Hall's back on Hamiltonian Day when he was 40-1 and 29-1. Unfortunately, you're not going to get that price here, so I'm going to go with the 3 Metz Hall on top, but I'm going to use a little bit of a price underneath with the 6 $50 bill, who supplemented to the Kentucky Futurity, is taking a chance for trainer William Crone.
We should mention that there were 2 supplements, in fact, in this Kentucky Futurity field. $50 bill, of course, the Breeders' Crown champion from 2017, and 6-pack, also a supplement. So those were your 2 supplements in the 12-horse event in the Kentucky Futurity. The top 5 finishers in both of those first heats will return for this afternoon's 13th and final race in the final of the Kentucky Futurity. 11th race, second division of this Tattersalls Pace, $225,000 on the line here. We've got a barn change bonanza in the 11th race, Mike. The 3, This Is the Plan, goes to Ron Burke here for the first time. Chris Ryder, he's been racing with all season. He's been a very good colt. He's earned over $172,000. I thought this was the weaker of the 2 Tattersalls divisions here this afternoon, and I think that may be a good plan for This Is the Plan here in his debut for the New Connections.
You know, this race kind of sets up like the first Kentucky Philly Futurity race with all the heavy hitters in the other division. I was really impressed with how This Is the Plan raced in the jug elimination. Got the perfect trip, was really coming late, but I'm going to go to the 4 Dorsadoro Hitover. This is another horse that I've been riding the coattails on ever since Meadowlands Pace Night, when you would have gotten 50-1 and turning for home. I really thought I had a winner.
You know what, I used him at the pick 4 that night as well. He had post 10, and he really did look like he had a big chance there. Ultimately, Courtly Choice would gun him down late. What a mile that night from Dorsaduro Hanover. And you said it, he's been right there at the near the top of the class all summer long. He's won 8 of 15, over half of his starts. He's a talented colt, so we'll both look for him to be close there in the 11th. 12th race this afternoon, we've got All-Raj Open Mares and the 4 Caviar Alley. I think she's in career best form right now, Mike. She won 2 starts back in 48 and change here in that Milton elimination. I'm going to go to the 4 Caviar Alley here this afternoon.
You know what surprised me about the 4 Caviar Alley, who I used for second, went 48-3 in the elimination, come back for the final, and only had to go 51-2. That's not necessarily a bad thing, saving a little bit in the tank for right here at the Red Mile. I went with the 5 Chartin, who won from post 7 out at Harris, Philadelphia by 3 3/4 lengths. This is a top mare. It's going to be really interesting to see what Chartin can do from post 5.
Okay, we'll look forward to that. 13th race, of course, is the comeback for the Kentucky Futurity. So we sort of have a grand finale to close it out here, our feature and signature event, third leg of the Trotting Triple Crown. Second heat is race 13. Mike, a lot of people out there that are much sharper than I might add, thought this racetrack may have been the fastest they've ever seen it yesterday, historically speaking. So we could be in store for a great day again this afternoon. So we wish everyone the best of luck. Enjoy closing day, Kentucky Futurity Day, here at the Red Mile.